Staring at your checking account balance days before the next payday often triggers a familiar, sinking feeling in your chest. You work hard, you put in the hours, yet somehow the math never seems to work out in your favor. The money comes in, and almost immediately, it evaporates into a dozen different directions, leaving you wondering where it all went. Feeling trapped by this endless cycle is incredibly common, but it does not have to be your permanent reality. The constant friction of living paycheck to paycheck drains your energy and steals your peace of mind. Every unexpected expense feels like a personal failure, and every attempt to restrict your spending usually ends in frustration or guilt. You might have tried tracking every single penny in a complex spreadsheet, only to abandon the effort when life got too busy. That overwhelming pressure is exactly why so many people simply give up on trying to manage their finances altogether. But true financial control does not require you to become a certified accountant or live a life of complete deprivation. The biggest misconception about getting your finances in order is that it must be painful, rigid, and incredibly time-consuming. In reality, the most effective strategies are often the ones that require the least amount of daily willpower. What you actually need is a reliable framework, a clear set of boundaries that tells your money exactly where to go before it ever has the chance to disappear. This is where demystifying the process becomes incredibly powerful, and it starts with the 50/30/20 budget rule. Instead of micromanaging every single transaction, this rule divides your after-tax income into three broad, easy-to-understand categories. It provides a simple, high-level overview of your finances, allowing you to see exactly how your resources are being distributed. By showing you the big picture, it eliminates the anxiety of hyper-focusing on minor, day-to-day purchases. Popularized by financial experts and notably outlined by Senator Elizabeth Warren in her book on personal finance, this approach is designed for everyday stability. The rule suggests allocating 50% of your income to your essential needs, 30% to your personal wants, and 20% to your savings and debt repayment. It is a highly practical method of simplified money management that works precisely because it acknowledges human nature. You are building a system that accommodates both your current lifestyle and your future security. Let us look closely at that first category, the 50% dedicated strictly to your needs. These are your absolute essentials. The non-negotiable expenses that keep a roof over your head, the lights on, and food on the table. We are talking about your rent or mortgage, utility bills, basic groceries, essential transportation, and minimum loan payments. If a sudden job loss occurred, these are the bills that would still absolutely have to be paid to maintain your basic survival. To put this into practical application, you first need to calculate your true after-tax income, which is simply the amount that actually lands in your bank account each month. Take that total number and cut it in half. That resulting figure is your maximum allowance for your essential living expenses. If your essential bills add up to less than that halfway mark, you are already in a fantastic position to accelerate your other financial goals. Next comes the 30% category, which is dedicated entirely to your wants. This is the portion of the framework that often surprises people the most because traditional financial advice rarely gives you permission to spend money on fun. Your wants include dining out, entertainment, hobbies, travel, streaming subscriptions, and that morning coffee you love so much. These are the lifestyle upgrades that make your day-to-day existence enjoyable, but which you could technically survive without. Having a dedicated space for your wants is the secret to long-term consistency. When you completely strip away all joy from your daily life in the name of financial discipline, you inevitably set yourself up for a massive binge spending relapse. Knowing that 30% of your hard-earned money is yours to enjoy completely guilt-free changes your entire psychological relationship with spending. You are no longer failing when you buy concert tickets. You are simply executing your plan. The final piece of the puzzle is the 20% allocated to savings and debt repayment. This is the engine room of your financial future, the category that actively moves you forward rather than just keeping you afloat. Every single month, 1/5 of your income should be directed toward building a safety net, paying off high-interest balances, or investing for your retirement. This dedicated portion is what ultimately breaks the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. If you are currently carrying consumer debt, this 20% is your primary weapon. You can apply proven debt payoff strategies here, like the debt snowball method, where you clear your smallest balances first to build immediate psychological momentum. Alternatively, you might choose the debt avalanche approach, mathematically targeting the balances with the highest interest rates to save the most money over time. Whichever path you choose, this dedicated funding source ensures you are making steady, measurable progress every single month. When attacking those balances, it is crucial to understand your APR, or annual percentage rate. Your APR is the yearly interest generated by a sum that is charged to borrowers or paid to investors, essentially representing the true cost of borrowing money. Credit cards often carry notoriously high APRs, meaning a significant portion of your monthly payment goes directly toward interest rather than reducing your actual balance. Identifying and aggressively targeting your highest APR debts within your 20% allocation is a vital step toward reclaiming your income. Simultaneously, part of that 20% must go toward establishing your emergency fund. An emergency fund is a dedicated savings account containing 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses, kept easily accessible for unexpected financial crises like medical emergencies or sudden unemployment. You do not need to build this entire fund overnight, but you must start contributing to it immediately. Even starting with a small goal of $1,000 can provide a massive buffer against life's inevitable surprises. The moment you fully fund that initial safety net, a profound physical weight lifts from your shoulders. A flat tire or a broken water heater is no longer a devastating catastrophe that forces you to reach for a credit card. It simply becomes a minor inconvenience that you can handle with cash. That transition from living in a state of constant financial vulnerability to a state of prepared resilience is one of the most empowering milestones you will ever experience. Now, what if you calculate your numbers and realize your basic needs are currently consuming 70 or 80% of your income? This is an incredibly common scenario, especially in areas with a high cost of living, and it is not a sign of personal failure. The 50/30/20 framework is an ideal target, but it is not a rigid law that you must flawlessly execute on day one. Recognizing that your ratios are currently out of balance is the critical first step toward correcting them. It is easy to feel discouraged when the math does not immediately align with the ideal percentages. You might look at your housing costs and feel completely paralyzed, tempted to throw the entire concept out the window. But walking away from the framework only guarantees that your situation will remain exactly the same. Instead of letting perfection become the enemy of progress, you must use this clear data to make informed, strategic decisions about your next moves. When your needs exceed the 50% mark, you generally have two paths: drastically reduce your fixed expenses, or actively increase your income. Income diversification through practical side hustles, freelance work, or negotiating a raise at your primary job can rapidly shift your percentages into healthier territory. Even an extra few $100s a month can dramatically lower the percentage of your income that your essential needs consume. This proactive approach puts you back in the driver's seat of your financial life. While you work on increasing your earnings or lowering your fixed costs, you can temporarily recalibrate the budget categories to fit your current reality. You might operate on a 70/10/20 ratio for a season, severely limiting your wants in order to maintain your savings and debt repayment goals. The specific numbers matter less than the intentional act of assigning every dollar a distinct purpose. The goal is steady, incremental progress toward the ideal balance. As you consistently apply your 20% toward clearing debt and building stability, you will naturally begin to improve your FICO score. A FICO score is a 3-digit number, typically ranging from 300 to 850, that lenders use to determine your credit risk based on your borrowing history. By making on-time payments and reducing your overall debt utilization through this budgeting method, your score will steadily rise. It is a quiet background process that eventually unlocks significant financial advantages. Watching that score climb transforms your relationship with the wider financial world. A strong credit profile means you will qualify for much lower interest rates on future car loans or a mortgage, effectively saving you tens of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. You stop being at the mercy of predatory lenders and start gaining access to premium financial products. The discipline of your monthly budget directly translates into long-term purchasing power. Eventually, as the high-interest debt disappears and your emergency savings are fully stocked, the purpose of that 20% category evolves. You get to shift those funds entirely toward wealth building, exploring basic investing avenues like a 401k, an IRA, or broad market index funds. You are no longer just repairing the past, you are actively constructing your future. This is where your money stops acting as a source of stress and starts working for you as a silent employee. This transition introduces you to the power of compound interest, which is simply the interest you earn on both your original money and on the interest that money has already accumulated. It is the mathematical snowball effect that allows everyday people to build substantial wealth over long periods of time. By consistently investing a portion of your 20% allocation, your money multiplies exponentially. The earlier you start directing funds into these reliable growth vehicles, the less heavy lifting you have to do yourself. The ripple effects of this system extend far beyond your bank account, fundamentally changing the atmosphere in your home. Conversations about money with your partner shift from tense, defensive arguments into collaborative planning sessions about your shared goals. The anxiety that used to hover over the dinner table is replaced by a quiet, grounded confidence. You are no longer guessing if you are going to be okay. You have the mathematical proof right in front of you. Over years and decades, applying this straightforward framework alters the entire trajectory of your family's story. You are not just organizing your checking account, you are breaking generational cycles of financial scarcity and stress. By mastering the balance of needs, wants, and savings, you lay a concrete foundation of stability that outlasts any temporary economic downturn. The budget becomes a legacy of empowerment, proving that everyday Americans can achieve extraordinary peace of mind on a normal income. Your journey toward that lasting peace begins with a single manageable step today. Look at your last pay stub, identify your true take-home pay, and calculate what your 50, 30, and 20% targets actually look like. Do not judge your current spending. Just observe it with fresh, objective eyes. By embracing this simple rule, you are taking the first definitive action to reclaim your financial control and build the life you truly deserve.